Who will protect my children? Fulfilling a request. Introduction. The title for this series of recordings, Who Will Protect My Children, is about fulfilling a request. The request, which at the time of this writing was made of me approximately 37 years earlier. The occasion for the request and the actual request is provided in the recording of this series entitled The Request and Misunderstanding It. The reason why it has taken 37 years to fulfill the request is, first and foremost, quite simply, is I misunderstood the request as to what it was really all about and what it required. The original interpretation of the request seemed quite obvious in the context of the request of which it was made. Only in time did I come to understand the request involved coming to an understanding it was about our inherent creativity and not what I thought was the obvious answer. But it related to our creativity in a way never imagined. Eventually I was led to consciously explore our creativity. The second reason the request took so long to fulfill it is I had to experience a variety of aspects about our creativity to understand the depth and breadth of creativity available to us. Fulfilling this request to understand how and why it was related to our creativity required an unexpected, rather lengthy journey, which can be called a journey of exploration into our creativity. In many ways, to experience these aspects about our creativity, it was like planting a variety of seeds and then watching the seeds grow and unfold to mature and bear fruit, and each day to observe and learn about the process. Creation in the physical world usually takes time, and you often need to see the full unfoldment to understand the process. In time, I came to understand, in essence, it required a lifelong journey, for the journey started well before the request was made. An early foreshadowing and quick overview of the journey. Relative to a lifelong journey, there is a story I was told at age 4 that in reflection foreshadowed it in a symbolic way and overviewed the whole process of the journey into our creativity. When I was 4 years old, my brother and sister were taking accordion lessons. The music teacher would come every week to the house to give them their lessons. One of the times he came, I told my mother I wanted to play the violin. The violin I wanted to play was not just a violin. It was a particular type and kind of music best characterized as more by the Hungarian and gypsy type violin. Very passionate, rich, soulful music characterized more with a freedom, creativity, individuality, and the free-spirited, not constrained by a script. It explores the freedom to learn and to grow and break with the routine, exploring new paths, and can be very improvisational. Where I got the desire at age 4 for that particular type and style of violin, I don't really know, but I was very aware of an energy and passion being expressed in such a violin. The music teacher told my mother he felt I was a little young, and he said he would come and teach me some of the basic theory when he came to teach my brother and sister. So, when I was told he would teach me music, I was excited. Every week he would come and I would ask him, "Where's my violin?" First he would say, "Oh, we have to plant the seed for the tree." As a child, I felt, well, that's okay. Have to plant a seed for the tree to grow and make a violin? That makes sense. Then the next week I'd say, "Where's my violin?" And the teacher would say, "Oh, the seed is just breaking through the ground." Then next week he would come and it's like, oh, the tree is now only an inch high. It has to grow tall, maybe to 40 feet. Then the next week it was 6 inches high. Then it was a foot high. This went on until it had grown and become mature. Then the tree was cut down. The next week it came, I said, "Where's my violin?" The teacher said, "They have to make wood out of the tree," so the tree was sent to the lumber mill and they'll make the wood from the tree. I felt, that's okay, we're getting closer. So the next week he came. I said, "Where's my violin?" His reply was, they have to cut the wood and make it into the violin. But I was patient. That is, okay, we're getting closer. The next week, of course, I asked again, "Where's my violin?" His reply was, "They have to varnish it and make it look nice." So we're almost there, and I was fully expected my violin. And I asked him, "Where's my violin?" He said, "Now we have to make the strings for the violin." So I'm waiting and waiting. And then he got sick and never came back, and I never got my violin as a child. My mother suggested to me later in life that she felt that the music teacher did not really know how to teach the violin. She suspected the teacher felt a 4-year-old would lose its interest. But the story stayed with me. After receiving the request and exploring our inherent creativity, I came to see the experience of wanting the violin was rather reflective of this journey of exploration into our creativity from a variety of different perspectives. One perspective is the story was somewhat reflective of my life in the sense that within me as a child was a seed that needed to grow, unfold, develop, and mature. It took a little over 40 years for me to come to a certain understanding and a set of life experiences to prepare me for the journey and receive the request, who will protect my children. It is very clear to me I was nurtured and groomed in a variety of ways over that 40-year period. Then the tree was cut down and I started to move into a totally new direction in life. Part of the new direction was towards a more conscious exploration of our creativity. Analogously, relative to our creativity, all the aspects that are needed for our creativity needed to be individually explored. In that exploration, there was a variety of experiences, much like making each of the 90 pieces of the violin individually and then assembling them. Then, of course, there was learning how to play the violin once assembled, and, of course, to learn the music. Here, the violin was the equivalent of our creativity and the creative imagination existing in our own mind and exploring it and eventually recreating my life and communicating with information I could out on the web. This recording presents the results of the journey. Applicable details are discussed in other recordings of the Who Will Protect My Children series of recordings. In this regard, the information provided here is provided in hindsight after the dust, the debris, and the chaos of change encountered in the journey had settled. In part, there was the need for sufficient time to digest and integrate all that had been experienced, learned, and I come to understand. And I might add, to test the validity and verify what I was discovering. However, it is noted an important piece, and hopefully the final piece of information, did not arrive until May 2024 in a discussion with a friend explaining an aspect about our creativity. So what is provided in this series of recordings is very much about looking back and asking what really happened, what unfolded, how it unfolded, why it unfolded the way it unfolded, and what ultimately needs to be communicated. This series of recordings, of which this is the first, addresses who and what are the children. It is to be noted the use of the word children in this recording refers to the children within the request, who will protect my children. Only in time that I come to understand the word children did not refer to what is normally understood by the word. The word children was only the best way my human mind had to characterize what I was perceiving at the time I heard the request. In many ways, the journey was experienced much like assembling the pieces of a very large jigsaw puzzle without a picture of what the puzzle looked like. For those who are unaware and not familiar with the jigsaw puzzle is a picture printed on a piece of cardboard type paper that is then cut into maybe 100, 500, or 1,000 irregular shaped interlocking pieces where each piece carries a piece of the overall picture. Then all the pieces are thrown into a box. The individual is then offered the opportunity to reassemble the picture. This, of course, requires figuring out how to reassemble all the pieces to make the picture. Although often difficult, it's relatively easy to do if you know what the picture looks like. However, if you do not have any idea what the picture looks like and you're trying to assemble maybe 1,000 pieces, it becomes very difficult to figure out where all the pieces fit and how they fit together and what that final larger picture would look like. In the case here, the jigsaw puzzle was the journey into the exploration of what pieces of life experiences offered as to understanding and the knowledge that were needed to see the real depth and breadth of creativity available to each of us, and what does our creativity really represent. What exactly is our creativity? In many ways, there was the question, what exactly is our creativity? Is our creativity just for what we call the creative arts and finding new ideas, or something much more? Many see creativity as an ability that some people have and others do not, much like one has an ability for sports, writing, music, and the like. Here we need to realize many see creativity as reflected in the creative arts normally seen as dance, drama, theater, music, visual arts, whether painting, sculpture, film, or photography. Or, from a more managerial perspective, creativity is just about finding new ideas. Rarely does one look at our creativity as something that cuts across all domains of cognitive abilities, language, social interactions, and the emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical aspects of our being, and possibly involving something more and unrecognized. One conclusion of this journey that was drawn is our creativity and our creative imagination is the most invaluable assets and ability we possess if we understand how to use it. But I came to find something even deeper and more profoundly expansive about our creativity. Who or what are the children? Without further discussion and cutting to the chase, it was found the request, "Who will protect my children?" was to come to understand the following. Initially, the journey of exploration into our creativity started as a conscious journey of exploration about 7 years after receiving the request. The journey revealed we each have within us a creative spirit and its associated heartfelt passion. If we are unable to live and express this passion to a sufficient degree, we will feel something in life is missing and may even feel an outright pain and that life is somehow not worth living. In seeking to look outward to try and address what seems to be missing, no solution is found, for what is missing is inside of us. This is something within us associated with our creative spirit, and its heartfelt passion is unexpressed for whatever reason it may be. To help individuals access their creative spirit and their heartfelt passion, the discerning personal truth and calibrating your internal compass exercises were created, and guidance provided as to learning to navigate from the heart. These efforts seem to address understanding the children, the creative spirit within each, and how this creative spirit can be protected by learning to navigate from the heart. Approximately 10 years after the request, the effort appeared successful and appeared to address the request, "Who will protect my children?" The remaining tasks at the time appeared only to require figuring out how to package and communicate the understanding about our creative spirit and this heartfelt passion. Here I could stop and say, by assisting others to access and freely express their creative spirit and their heartfelt passion, I would be protecting the children. In giving them the safe space for individuals to do their own experiments to help define and refine their unique creative expression of their heartfelt passion and empower them to live that passion, I can say I fulfilled the request, "Who will protect my children?" However, I felt something more was needed to be addressed. Not having what I would call a bigger, coherent picture as to how our creative spirit and its heartfelt passion integrated into our life, into the lives of others, and sometimes disrupting our life, I continued to explore creativity and its two aspects, our creative ability and our creative power. In doing so, I found something unexpected at a deeper level as to who the children are. As the remaining pieces of the puzzles were found, I found I had been seeking to remain consistent with the general understanding about the nature and essence of what most thought or consider a human being to be. The general understanding is most of us tend to think a human experience is our awareness, soul, or spirit, whatever you want to call it, having an experience in a physical body, and all that goes along with the body, such as surviving in the world in which it finds itself. The soul, the spirit, is usually seen separate from the body, such that when we die, the soul or spirit leaves the body behind. What the soul or spirit is seen to be depends on the religion, spiritual, or the metaphysical tradition in which one believes. To view the creative spirit as a soul and its heartfelt passion, just the soul's desire for a physical experience, fits this view of the human being quite well. However, the continued journey of exploration revealed something different, and it's necessary to talk about a different perspective of the human being to understand exactly who the children are. The following observations were made. First and foremost, the essence of who we are is a unique, individuated aspect of the creative essence of creation, with unique attributes reflected in the unique gifts we have to offer. As this unique, individuated aspect, we each are incredibly unique, and all that we experience and all of our perceptions are subjective. Our awareness, that part of ourselves that can stand apart from our human mind and what we think and believe, and can just watch and observe, has the ability to place itself into any aspect of creation to observe and experience creation. It possesses a free will to do so. That is, this awareness is simultaneously separate from the whole, but an integral part of the whole. Think of a piano. The piano has 88 keys. Each key is an individual key, yet each individual key is integral to the whole piano. The piano is incomplete if one of the 88 keys is missing. Each key functions the same way as any of the other keys, but each is uniquely different. So too our awareness. Here an important note needs to be made. I stated we each are a unique individuated aspect of the creative essence of creation. Our awareness is only one part of our essence. We each are much more than our awareness and the consciousness that arises around our awareness. In the recording, What is a Human Being as Seen as a Result of the Exploration of Our Creativity, I describe the human being to be composed of 3 parts, and each plays a specific role in the human experience of life. There is a body, which is the energy-based vehicle for the experience. Then there is a creative spirit, or the creative life energy, which activates the body and is felt as what gives the body life. Then there is the higher self. Our higher self is the aspect or the fragment of our consciousness which lies within or behind creation and contains our awareness. Our higher self is the essence of who we are. It is as our individuated awareness has defined itself, and it is us as an individuated aspect of the creative essence of creation. Puzzling as it sounds, our higher self, who we really are, remains outside physical creation. Yet, as an awareness, it places an aspect of itself into physical creation as an incarnated aspect of itself. This incarnated aspect then forgets its relationship with the higher self in order to have the physical experience it desires. Think of it as entering a swimming pool to swim. One has to be fully in the water to swim in the water. Similarly, we have to be fully in physical creation to have the experience of physical creation. Our awareness must forget the part of itself lies outside of physical creation. Otherwise, we would not be able to have the experience of what it means to be physical. Returning to the swimming analogy, we cannot be in the water swimming and then get out of the water and expect to continue swimming. We have to remain in the water to swim. So too for us in physical creation. We have to place our awareness in physical creation and keep it there for the experience of physical creation. The usual perception is we, the human being, is just the composite of these 3 aspects. This perspective goes a long way in explaining the human experiences as most understand the human experiences. It is this perspective that gives rise to this perspective that the human being is somehow living in separation from the source and oneness of creation. But it is here the journey of exploration revealed something different. But to see it, I had to step out of the typical way humans tend to perceive both what it means to be a human being and how creation is typically seen to work. What was revealed in obtaining the seemingly last piece of the puzzle in May 2024 was a profound subtlety that goes back to the nature of the human mind and giving rise to the experience of separation from the source of creation. It needs to be understood the human body was being developed in a mother's womb long before the individual's human mind came into existence. Nor did the human mind give rise to the creative life energy reflected in the creative spirit which energizes the body. Nor does the individual's human mind have to be involved in a body to heal itself. The orchestration within creation has taken and does take care of that. You can look at this orchestration within creation as a self-organizing feature of creation, which is often experienced and called an intelligence or the wisdom of creation, which runs our body and repairs itself without our mind stepping in to do anything about it. So it is clear there is much that goes on with the body and our life which our human mind is unaware if not involved. Quite simply, our human mind does not see nor fully understand the bigger picture of the orchestration within creation. Now, our higher self did exist before both the body and its creative spirit started to form and unfold, but is not what created the body and its creative spirit. This is what came as a surprise. It became very clear there is an orchestration in creation reflected in our life path and the reason for our incarnation. That blueprint for the orchestration of creation is beyond whatever blueprint exists for our life path and our reason for incarnating. But our reason for incarnating and the blueprint for our life is part of the larger orchestration of creation and part of its blueprint. Our higher self either accepted its role in the orchestration, or our higher self designed our life in conjunction with this larger orchestration to be consistent with the orchestration. However we choose to look at it, we as a human being are playing roles within a larger orchestration. You can think of our role in a large orchestra as simply the key played on the piano in the symphony. That single key is played as required throughout the entire performance of the symphony in line with its part in the larger orchestration of the symphony. What is occurring relative to the children in the request, "Who will protect my children?" is that our awareness, that part of our being that can detach and just observe, has been offered a unique personal opportunity to experience the creative essence of creation, which give rise to creation in a profoundly intimate and unique way. The creative essence of creation is expressing itself through our body as our creative life energy, our creative spirit giving life to our body, and it is the child of the creative essence of creation. That is, the children to which the request, "Who will protect my children?" refers, is the creative essence of creation, or alternatively said, although not an accurate description, is the personified term, the creator, if you wish, expressing itself through each individuated human. That is, the individuated awareness which is perceived as our awareness is not one of the children of the Creator in this request, "Who will protect my children?" Rather, the children is the creative life energy which gives rise to the body, and the life within our body and within each of us are the children. The children refer to the unique creative spirit within each of us desiring to be expressed as part of the orchestration of creation. Within the overall orchestration of creation, our body and the body's creative life energy, as the creative spirit and its heartfelt passion, is ultimately here to fulfill a role assigned and created by the orchestration of creation. Our creative spirit and its creative life energy is the creative essence of creation, creating creation through unfolding the life-giving energy through our body, and is experienced by us as the creative spirit and its associated heartfelt passion within each of us. In simplest terms, we have been invited to experience the creative essence of creation, creating creation through the experiences of our body. We individually have been asked to experience the answer to the following question, asked by that which gives rise to creation. What does my essence, as the creative essence of creation, look like expressed through the biological system of a human being named blank? And you, the listener, fill in the blank with whomever you think you are. The creative essence of creation chose the form of our human body as the vehicle and all that comes with this body and is encompassed by this body for the desired experience of the creative essence of creation at this time and place. Alternatively said, we, our awareness, has been given the opportunity to experience as a minimum, to observe, witness, and dance with this unique unfolding expression of the creative essence of creation through the flow that we call life through our body for this time and this place. It is here lies the human perception that humans are somehow separate from the source and oneness of creation. If the human mind takes the creative life energy within us and directs it into the desires of our human mind, we will live and experience separation. However, if our awareness focuses its attention inward into what our creative spirit and its heartfelt passion desires to experience, and listen to it, we will experience oneness within ourselves and with the source of creation. We become the source expressing itself in creation as us and through us. That is, as an awareness, we are also offered the opportunity to create with the divine essence. We have the choice to learn to dance with this energy or try and control it and manipulate it. We are not here to control this energy with the human mind that develops in the consciousness of our awareness as a result of our human experience and what we have come to think and believe. If you wish, look at our role as the part an instrument is assigned to play in an orchestra. When the orchestra performs, our instrument is asked to play its part as orchestrated within the orchestrated piece of music. Now, the musician playing the instrument can play the part assigned to them, or they can play whatever they want. Obviously, if you want harmony in the orchestra, you play the assigned role. So too our role in the orchestration of creation. If one is not experiencing harmony within creation and within all levels of their being, there is the need to consider if they are not playing their assigned role. The greater harmony within all levels within one's being, which one experiences in their life, the more one is in alignment with the part our awareness agreed to play. The challenge is to use our human mind and its creative imagination and the experiences and understanding it gains as to how creation works for this time and place to create a way for this creative spirit and its heartfelt passion to freely unfold into the world and bring into manifestation the combined gifts of the divine essence on our own unique gifts reflected in the dance our essence and the divine essence does together with each other. It is here we truly co-create with creation. That is, if we work with this energy, we then do not live in the separation that most humans experience. Humans feel separate from the source of creation only because they listen to their human mind rather than aligning with the flow of their creative life energy felt in their heart and what their creative spirit desires to experience. To do so requires our mind to surrender to our heartfelt passion and to figure out how to create a way to be in the world in a way to be expressed true to that heartfelt passion. That is, to learn to navigate from the heart. It is to allow our heart to determine the direction we need to go in life and have our human mind figure out how to do it for this time and place of our incarnation. Before further discussion of this observation with explanations and implications of what has been stated here, and what does it mean to protect the children, it is appropriate to address one of the key 10 observations made in the exploration of our creativity, for it will also help to better understand how to live without the feeling of separation while in physical creation. Incredible uniqueness of our perception. It needs to be understood we each are incredibly unique and all that we experience is subjective. No one sees and experiences creation as we do. No one has our pain, no one has our joy. No one can dispute our unique subjective perceptions of creation. For any experience we have, each of our perceptions are subjective, and no one can prove or disprove what we are seeing and experiencing. Whether or not anyone agrees with our subjective unique perception is another issue. Given the nature of the human being, such that from the very beginning we need to depend on others to care and feed us, we continually look to fit in some way with others. Given the uniqueness and subjectiveness of our perceptions, we either attempt to get others to see what we do or why we do, or we buy into and accept the perception of others so that we can feel we have agreement with others or with another. When we buy into another's perception, we do so at the possibility of denying our own truth. Unless we check to see if what another sees resonates with us and aligns with what we feel relative to the flow of our own creative life energy, we will be denying ourselves in some way. What is reported in this and all the Releasing Your Unlimited Creativity material and YouTube recordings reflects my perception based upon the journey of exploration into our creativity. But what is reported is not my personal subjectiveness, although what I write does resonate with my truth for my unique journey and filtered through my perception. Rather, it is the best explanation about the creative essence within us based upon looking across all the reported human experiences which have come to my attention. In this sense, it is a composite of all the experience of others with my desire to make it inclusive as possible. Reliability of the observations and findings of the journey. So a valid question that can be asked is, given the subjectiveness and uniqueness of our individual perceptions, how can you, the listener, accept the reliability of the observations and findings of my journey if there is the possibility my perception is simply my illusion and has nothing to do with a generic truth? 3 comments can be made. The first and probably the most important is the understanding of what is reported allowed me to work with individuals to assist them to experience a more fulfilling and satisfying life. You could say the effectiveness of the understanding is the measure of its truth. The second comment is, I realize given the limitations of the human mind to fully comprehend creation, any perception in my journey is only an approximation as to the correctness as to what is true. It may be a good approximation, but not necessarily correct. Consequently, I continually looked and continue to look to see where whatever conclusions I draw, how and where my conclusions could be incorrect and needs upgraded, and of course, upgrade my personal perception accordingly. The third is I looked and continue to look across all reported human experience as true and look for a way of understanding and viewing creation such that all that is reported by any human could be understood to be true. Here again, I cannot dispute the unique subjective perception of any human being. Rather, it requires me to look at how each individual's subjective unique perception fits in with a bigger picture. If you wish, you could look at each human experience as a small piece of an extremely large mosaic tile mural, and each individual piece needs to fit into the bigger picture. It needs to be properly placed in the larger picture created by the mosaic mural. This third comment addressed the question, ever present as an undercurrent in the journey of exploration of our creativity. That is there a way to view creation no matter what a person believes, they can have some type of experience of that belief, such that they can point to that experience as proof of what they believe is true? A variation of this question was not having met anyone who I felt was lying about their personal internal experiences they had. Was there a way to view creation that would support such personal and subjective experiences as true? Arriving at the answer to this question required looking across the whole human experience. It was not to deny anyone's reported personal subjective experience. Rather, it was to see their experience as true for them and to look to see how did their perception fit into the overall bigger picture of how creation worked. The answer to these questions was that we are creators of our reality and the experiences in that reality. We create by how we focus our attention and awareness, by how and what we consciously and unconsciously think and believe, and creation is magical enough to mold itself to give us some form of our desired experience. These and other observations made on the journey of exploration are further discussed in recordings of this series on the journey of exploration. What is reported here is the best fit to all the data obtained on the journey. The recommendation here is that you eat and digest all that you read and hear, keeping what serves you and resonates with you, and discard the remainder. It is also recommended you do your own experiments to see if what is said here is true. You, of course, are free to accept or reject any or all of what is said here. Implications of the children as a flow of energy. Returning to the observation of the creative essence of creation expressing itself through us as our creative life energy being a child of the creative essence of creation, we, our awareness, that part of our being that can detach and just observe, has been offered a unique personal opportunity to experience the creative essence of creation in a profoundly intimate way. As stated, we individually have been asked to experience the answer to the following question asked by that which gave and gives rise to creation. What does my essence as the creative essence of creation look like expressed through the biological system of a human being named blank, and you, the reader or listener, fill in the blank with whomever you think you are. The creative essence of creation chose the form of our human body as the vehicle and all that comes with the body, and is encompassed by the body for its desired experience of creation at this time and place. Alternatively said, we have been given the opportunity to observe, witness, and dance with a unique unfolding expression of the creative essence of creation. What is presented here is a short overview of some explanation and implications of this observation about the children and what it means to protect the children. More in-depth discussions and the basis of what is stated here will be found in the Who Will Protect My Children series of recordings and the Release Your Unlimited Creativity material. The implications of this observation totally depends on how we, the individual, offered the invitation, chooses to experience their life, for there are 4 levels to our creativity. First and foremost, our creativity is our doorway to the creative essence and creative power of creation. As discussed in other recordings, the human being is a creativity machine. We cannot not create. If we do not create consciously, we will create unconsciously. But we need to understand our creativity as 2 parts. There is our creative ability, which is about our mind understanding how to create and what needs to be done to create what is desired. The other part is our creative power, which is about the energy and our heartfelt passion and what gives us life and how we learn to work with the creative energy, and in particular, our creative life energy. Without energy, nothing happens. What we call energy has been seen both by scientists and many mystics underlying all of creation. Everything within physical creation is seen as requiring or running on energy. Without a flow of energy, there is no animation and nothing happens. Everything we experience, no matter what it is, arises as a result of a flow of energy. Without the movement a flow of energy provides, there is nothing to observe. All physical creation is composed of energy. Under correct conditions, it has been observed, energy can be converted to mass and mass converted to energy. In essence, we are like fish existing in a sea of energy, and some of the energy has been solidified as objects. Additionally, observations have been that all communications is energy-based. All flows of energy carry information. If nothing else, the flow of energy can be traced back to where it originated and can tell us something about its source. With proper antenna and receiver or their equivalent and the proper converting device, the information carried by the energy can be understood. Probably everyone is familiar with radio waves and tuning a receiver to pick up a particular station's broadcast to hear music or some type of programming. As a human, we are sensitive to the energy we sense. The human mind and its creative imagination is the equivalent of that radio receiver. It can be tuned and extract the information from the energy we sense within our being and translate that energy into thoughts, images, and the like. Our creative life energy carries information decoded by our mind and body. Both the mind and body are vehicles of experience and filters for this energy and the information it carries. Here it can be noted, it can be said with the information within the flow, each flow of energy is a form of consciousness. Whether our mind perceives a communication from some being or entity of which it is not familiar, in actuality it is receiving an energy transmission. But the human mind normally sees communication between individuals or entities not as energy transmissions. Of course, there are those that routinely talk about having received a download of information, which is nothing more than an energy transmission to which one is receptive. So too our creative life energy. We can perceive our own energy as a communication from an entity or simply as a knowing as to what actions we need to take. Our creative life energy is encoded with information and our reason for incarnating. It is our choice how we learn to access and feel, but it starts with feeling and being aware of what we feel. What is not understood, but very clear from the journey of exploration into our creativity, is that we are being asked by the creative essence of creation to have a deeper and more profound relationship with the creative life energy that gives rise to our life than about us having an experience created by our human mind. Here an important note needs to be made. Our awareness that part of us that can stand back and observe is also a creator and will create wherever it finds itself. In accepting the invitation to incarnate as a human body, it is not here to do its own thing which it can choose to do. It is here to co-create with the creative essence giving rise to the body it inhabits. Here, of course, we need to understand what it means to co-create. The journey of exploration into our creativity revealed one of the more significant errors humans have made in valuing the human mind and what it thinks and believes over the body and what is felt in the body and what information can be extracted from the energy the body experiences. The human mind fails to see its own created illusion about creation and what creation is all about. The human mind is limited and will never fully grasp the infinity of creation. Although the human mind cannot fully grasp the vastness of creation, it thinks it knows and can understand. The best the human mind can do is speak in symbols, metaphor, similes, allegories, and the like. Even physics with its mathematics and the insights from the mathematics are only symbols of something much greater. Here again, we need to remember, we each have a very unique and subjective perception. We each, with our human mind and its experiences along with our unique awareness, will have to decide what we think creation is all about and how it works. It is, was, and always will be our subjective choice, but we just need to be aware our choice does not make it a correct interpretation. Here it is recommended we each allow effectiveness to be our measure of truth. If it works for us to create what we desire, use it. Here again, if it works, it does not mean it's a correct interpretation of creation. This also means what works for us may not work for any other. Each needs to do their own experiments. It became clear only in time much of the journey of exploration into our creativity was burning off all my mind's misconceptions about creation, our creativity, and the children which need to be protected. What needs to be protected is the divine essence of creation being expressed through who and what we think we are. Our awareness does not need to be protected, for it will never be injured, and it knows how to protect itself if it pays attention to itself. Our human mind is simply the creation of our awareness as a result of being in the body. The human mind exists based upon the human experience it has had and has, since it changes in response to each experience we have. Our awareness creates the lens, if not a filter, through which we view creation, and it is a subjective lens or filter. What we need to protect is the divine essence giving rise to the life we have, and what the divine essence desires to experience through our body and our being. It desires to experience the expression of its essence flowing as our creative life energy sustaining us. The essence of creation desires an experience of all that comes together to give us the body we have and give our awareness and experience of our body as the energy vehicle it is. It needs to be recognized analogously. Our body is the equivalent of a solidified energy, much like ice is solidified water vapor. Our body is not who we are. Our body is the manifestation of what we both desire to experience and what we agree to experience. Hence, there are conditions in the body that we create and conditions in the body which are what the creative essence desires to experience. The creative life energy that is flowing through us and sustaining our being is the essence of creation, giving us the opportunity to intimately experience being that essence viewed and experienced through our human consciousness in our life. The essence of creation has created a flow of energy, our creative life energy, much like a river flowing to the sea, that will pass through a variety of terrains and landscapes in its journey to the sea. We, as an observer, get to experience its unfoldment, but we, as an awareness, are a creator, and we have the opportunity to choose how we will respond to that unfoldment at any point along the way. Our response is our choice. The question is, how do we choose to express what is flowing through us? And do we align with it, or do we seek to direct it? Relative to how we choose to express what is flowing through us, as a minimum, we can choose to just witness it and what unfolds. Our awareness is what the creative essence of creation uses to experience its creation, which is unfolding as a flow of energy within us and what it brings into existence. This would require becoming aware and just watching. However, unfortunately, our awareness has the ability to move into consciousness and then into mind and all that mind is capable of doing. Being in a human body, it is difficult for the mind of our awareness to just watch. As a minimum, as soon as the body has a need, mind will move to address that need. Additionally, moving into the mind, it is hard for mind to be only aware and not create a story or interpretation of what it is witnessing. So the challenge is, do we allow mind to run amok, or do we choose to responsibly create with the flow of our creative life energy and its unfoldment? Here another note needs to be made. Our awareness can move into consciousness, and consciousness can move into mind and all that mind does. As such, our awareness can experience two minds. One part is the part that transcends the human experience. You can call this the transcendental mind. The other part is the human mind, which develops in being attached to the body. If you wish, you can view the human mind as our conscious mind and the transcendental mind lying in the subconscious mind. 4 ways to live life creatively. We have 4 ways to live life creatively. The first way is to just be carried by life and not consciously choose to change and step out of the programming we have received in life or what we have come to think and believe. We will still create, for we are a creativity machine, but we will create unconsciously based on our programming and our conscious and unconscious beliefs and where one's creative life energy carries us in life. The second way is to choose to access creative ideas and different ways of being than how we were raised and how we have been conditioned to respond to the world. This is about breaking out of the box in which we've placed our creativity. Here, mind chooses what it wants and directs our life energy to go after what it wants. Here, the mind leads our life based upon its ideas of success and the joy and happiness it seeks. Seeking any, quote, spiritual experience or even enlightenment in any way is to go after what our human mind wants and seeks and what it has come to believe about creation. Here again, what we believe does not necessarily make it correct. But if what we believe aids us and appears to be effective at getting what our human mind wants, we assume what we believe is correct. Here again, much of the journey of exploration into our creativity was about burning off much of what I believed or at least had accepted as true and correct and seeing its incorrectness. The third way of creating is to understand we have a creative spirit and an associated heartfelt passion that arises from the source of creation, the creative essence of creation, expressing itself. This third way is to seek to align with this passion. It is to allow the passion we feel in our heart to lead us and use mind to figure out how to do it. Here our heart, the feeling of that passion within our being to lead our life. Here we learn to navigate from the heart and seek to align with the orchestration within creation and align with what can be experienced as the self-organizing principle of creation. We need to remember the body runs automatically. Any biological system, since it is living, is continuously changing as a result of the process of living. It takes the nutrients and materials to sustain life. There is a self-organizing feature of creation, which we can call an intelligence, and the wisdom of creation that runs our body and repairs itself without our mind stepping in to do anything about it. Ultimately, all healing comes from within. Others may help the process, but the actual healing is done through this organizing principle of creation. This organizing feature of creation, or guiding feature of creation, is always within us and available to us and has orchestrated our role in the larger unfolding creation. The fourth way is to step out of mind and accept the invitation creation has offered us. Here, the Persian poet and mystic Hafez describes it well. It is here we actually become co-creators with creation. A divine invitation. There is a quote by Hafez that nicely fits the observation made in the exploration of our creativity. However, I don't know if it's translated correctly, and I don't know if he was referring to the type of experience as to how I interpret the quote. Most say this quote is a metaphor, but it's not a metaphor. Rather, it's an attempt to explain a relationship. It is the relationship between our awareness and that which gives rise to creation and points to the children in the request, "Who will protect my children?" Hafez captures it quite nicely in the concept of an invitation. The quote is, "You have been invited to meet the friend. No one can resist a divine invitation. That narrows our choices down to two. We can come to God dressed for dancing or be carried on a stretcher to God's hospital ward." Hafez gives another perspective to the relationship of our awareness with the creative essence of creation. His perspective eloquently addresses and includes potential consequences. Hafez says you have been given an invitation to meet the divine essence, and he refers to it as a friend. My experience is the divine essence is a friend, and in the deepest possible sense. A friend is someone with whom you can communicate at the deepest level. As a friend, one is able to establish a communication with the essence of creation, which we can personify as the creator. As we consciously create, we can communicate creator to creator. Here it needs to be understood. A doctor will talk differently to another doctor than a layperson. An engineer will talk differently to another engineer than a layperson. God will talk to another God differently than a layperson. So too the creator. It will talk differently to another creator than a layperson. The challenge for each of us is to become a conscious creator and have a conversation with the Creator. Besides, the divine essence, that Creator, is a friend. That we can be assured of. Would you not respond to a friend? One just needs to be open to how the divine essence will respond, which is usually through intuition, insights, knowings, synchronicity, and the like. One should not be surprised if some things have an element of seemingly magic as to what unfolds. Here we need to remember there is information in energy, and that information is available to us and can be communicated to us. But we have to be open and out of our mind and our thinking and judgments to receive what can be communicated. Fez says we cannot resist the divine invitation. This is because we already accepted the invitation, for we are already in relationship with the friend. We are here in creation to experience creation. But being here is what is important. It is we can dance with the energy and what the essence of creation desires to experience through aligning with its flow. Or we can resist what it desires, fight it, argue with it, choose to go in another direction, and will simply cause ourselves pain. In doing so, we end up requiring this divine essence to heal us after we've caused ourselves unnecessary pain and hardship. Here we end up in the hospital ward, or maybe better said, a healing space. If one does not align with the dance, we end up needing healed. Ultimately, all healing comes from within. As one heals, whether we realize it or not, we learn about how to return to the dance. Healing requires a change in life in some way. It may be as simply as remembering to take a pill once a day. To do so is the change in lifestyle, as simple as it is. The question is what we do to heal sufficient to return to fully engage in the dance? But the important point here is it is a dance. It is a dance of energy and consciousness, a dance between the unfolding energy of creation flowing through us and our awareness. This unfolding flow of energy is a new, never-before experienced original creation. Our mind has difficulty in dealing with a new, never-before experienced creation. Our human mind only knows the past and what it has experienced. Our human mind is of little use to guide one in a truly creative, new, original endeavor. The best the human mind can do in such a situation is a trial and error method of experimentation. If the human mind steps in with what it thinks, it diverts the flow of energy from the intended purpose. To experience the energy unfolding into the unknown, we need to follow the flow, and that means we need to be out of mind, out of the thinking mind, and open to feeling. This dance is about flow and movement. It's about feeling the dance and feeling the flow. One needs to be open to feeling the dance. It's about how the energy is asking us to experience creation, and we have a choice. We can surrender to the dance between our awareness and the energy, or we can seek to direct the energy in a way our human mind wants. How all this appears to work is we need to understand several things. The essence of creation is creative. Our awareness is creative, and our awareness is a creator. We can create with the essence of creation in a dance, or we can attempt to go on our own way, essentially robbing the divine essence of its energy, taking it from its intended purpose. Here we need to understand to dance with someone is a surrender to something that lies between each, but each has the freedom of movement to flow in and with the dance. Dance with someone in this context is not about standing a few feet apart from each other, moving one's body. Rather, it's to move together in a complementary way based on the type of dance. Think of something like the tango, a waltz, a salsa, a foxtrot, a swing, a cha-cha, a rumba, or think of a pair of skaters at the Olympics. The dance can have many different interpretations, but to dance with another is to choreograph one's movement with the other for the enjoyment of each other around the dance. The challenge is to understand what the dance, the divine essence within us, is asking of us in which to participate. Here one needs to ask, what am I being asked to do? And then get out of mind, out of its thinking, its judgment, and its expectations, and allow oneself to feel the dance and the movement required, and improvisationally respond to the requested movement. The human mind and the god of the underworld. Here it needs to be noted, this relationship with the divine essence is not imperceptible. Some are of the opinion this relationship with the divine is not perceptible by the senses or by the human mind. That is, the divine essence is not physical, but nothing can be farther from the truth. It is true this friend cannot be understood and never will be fully understood by the human mind, but is very perceptible through feeling. In fact, not realizing this is perceptible through feeling leads to the belief in a spiritual realm which is separate from the physical and leads to the perception of separation. One becomes whole in embracing the dance which is asked of them. That is why we are here. It's about honoring our unique invitation which we have accepted. But to really perceive this, one needs to be outside of the judgments and the interpretations of the mind and be open to feeling. It is here the human mind reveals itself as the god of the underworld. The concept of the underworld apparently originated in Greek mythology and was seen as a level below ordinary life. Quite simply, the unseen perceived below ordinary life as opposed to the unseen above ordinary life where the gods lived. The underworld was the unseen world where the dead would go in Greek mythology. As in the Greek myth of the beautiful Persephone being captured by the god of the underworld. The god of the underworld was reported to be a middle-aged, hard-frozen-hearted man living in darkness. But in the presence of Persephone, his heart softened and he experienced the return to his own youth, beauty, and freshness. So he captured Persephone and carried her off to the underworld for himself to be experienced his own beauty, youthfulness, and freshness because of her presence. The god of the underworld is not evil, it just wanted to take for itself. So too our human mind. In the same way, the human mind needs to capture the heart and its passion so the human mind can perceive itself as young, beautiful, and powerful. The human mind has no energy of itself. It captures and directs the energy and passion of the heart. The human mind just wants to control the energy of the heart for itself. It wants to be in control. The human mind needs to learn there's a great beauty and power in learning to dance with the energy. The human mind must be willing to surrender to the lead of the energy, the music, the flow, in the dance. The human mind must allow the freedom of movement and be open to the movement and what the movement offers. It is to be fully present to the next step the dance requests. Once in the dance, the human mind can experience its power as the creator to create a world in which the energy of the dance is free to express itself in alignment with what the dance was created to do. But this cannot be done unless the human mind is willing to help and use its creative imagination for the fulfillment and the unfoldment of the dance manifested in physical creation. Unfortunately, our awareness playing with the human mind is like a child playing with a knife. The child is holding the knife by the blade and not the handle, and then they puzzled as to why they keep cutting themselves and feeling pain. In this regard, it's not even about the problem of the human mind wanting to direct the passion of the heart or controlling it. It's about the unawareness of one's own creativity, and it is their own creativity and what they are creating that is causing them their problems. The human mind is needed to widen or expanding the flow of energy and removing the obstacles to the flow. Unfortunately, the human mind does the opposite. It restricts and places obstacles, often even to the point of strangling the flow. Ultimately, it's about the need to navigate from the heart. It's to allow the heart, the energy, the deep heartfelt feeling to determine the direction, and our human mind to figure out how to get there. Here a note does need to be made. It has been observed that when an individual moves to align with their creative spirit and its heartfelt passion, there is a beauty, a youthfulness, a contentment that is often visible in the individual's physical body and in the presence they create. Fruit of the dance. So the question is, what does the essence of creation look like having flowed through each of us, and what does it look like flowing through each of us now? What are the fruits in our life from this experience? Actions speak louder than words. What has our life manifested? It is said creation is created out of an undescribable, unconditional love. If this is true, it is here and now, for we are an aspect of the creation manifested. It's already within us. Why do we not experience it? We each need to ask, are we experiencing the love, beauty, and magnificence of creation? We can feel the energy and see its effects. We can feel it or experience it in spite of what our mind thinks. What are we feeling, and what are the effects of this divine essence flowing through us into the world? Other than sustaining the life that we are living, even though that in itself is quite remarkable, are there any other effects? What is our dance revealing about the divine essence of creation, the creative essence of creation? What are our fruits? Are we creating a life worth living? We need to remember we have a unique subjective perspective. We need to live our truth and look to see what resonates with our intuition and what we believe. We need to explore what we are being asked to experience in our unique relationship in the dance with the creative essence of creation. No one can tell us how to live what is asked of us. We need to look to the feeling of this flow to guide us and not allow our human mind to mask our heart and fear our path because it's different than any other, for that is what we are here for. It is to bring our uniqueness into the world and give the world the unique gifts that we have to offer as a result of the dance. This process requires a surrender to the internal feelings and to move into alignment with our life path and the orchestration within creation of which we have a role. In summary, it can be said the creative life energy giving rise to life within each of us are the children that is experienced within us as the creative spirit and its associated heartfelt passion within each individual. We each are an unfolding process entering into the unknown each moment. In many ways, we can see each of us as a seed created by the creative essence of creation that has been planted in a garden, field, or an environment in which this seed can grow and flower. Each of these seeds is a new, original, never-before-seen creation. The seed we each carry cannot grow in any other time and place. Our seed is created for here and now. Other seeds are created for other times and other places. Each seed is like an unfolding flower or plant that once planted will germinate, grow, bud, flower, or blossom, releasing its fragrance into the air and then goes to seed to bear fruit for the next cycle of death and rebirth. The seed has been entrusted to our awareness for us to nurture and protect its unfoldment. Our unique creativity is needed to maintain or modify the environment for the seed to grow. The fruit of the unfoldment of this seed is reflected in the gifts we each have to give as a fruit of our unfoldment. Here we need to realize everything that exists that has not been created by what humans would call God or not created by nature started as a single thought in the mind of a single individual. Everything goes back to the unique subjective perception an individual had of themselves and creation. Doesn't matter what it is. Anything created by humans go back to a single thought and experience of one person giving rise to the thought residing and unfolding in any creation developed by humans. All of it. This includes everything. Every spiritual or religious belief or tradition, every scientific tradition, every piece of music, art, written book, all forms of writing, all economic systems, all and any form of government systems, any scientific principle, any medical or healing practice, any social custom or way of being. It does not matter what it is. Anything that you can name created by humans started as a thought in a unique, subjective mind of an individual. When communicated, others simply accepted that thought, built or acted on that thought, or modified the thought. And before we realize it, we've manifested all that humans have brought into existence. But the thought that gives rise to what humans create still started in the mind of a single unique subjective perception of an individual. To say a single thought can change the world is not an understatement. A single thought of a human mind has changed the world repeatedly, and it needs to be noted that a single thought arose from that very unique and subjective perception of creation. Others may have bought into that thought that changed the world because it appeared to work for them, and they agreed with it and its implications. At least they understood the implications. It all starts with a single thought within one individual. Your uniqueness and that unique dance you have with the divine may carry the creative insight needed by humanity. but it cannot be born unless we learn to dance with and freely flow with the energy of the dance. The simplest guidance. The simplest guidance that can be given is to feel the energy within your being. Seek to move towards a deep feeling of inner satisfaction with life and a feeling or experience of expansion within your being. Start creating something and tell yourself, I am a creator. And as you create, and from that passion in your heart, ask the personification of the creative energy of creation as the creator and as a friend, talk to me. Give me some guidance about our unique dance and what we are here to do. You are not alone. And remember, you are unique and have a unique subjective perception. You can talk to others, request their advice, and ask them to share their knowledge with you. But you do not compromise your unique truth. Do not think they have your answers. Use what others provide like any food you eat. Keep what serves you and nourishes your being, and discard the remainder. What you need to do is unique to you. You have to have the courage and ability to live your unique truth and reveal what your dance is asking to manifest. Otherwise, you would not be here. Give yourself permission to do your own experiments and see what works for you as that unique unfolding creation. Trust the process that you are guided, for you are dancing with the creative essence of creation to manifest something it desires. Further information. The recordings specific to the topic discussed here are labeled with the letters WWPMC, referring to Who Will Protect My Children. However, any of the Releasing Unlimited Creativity material posted on the web or on YouTube are ultimately about nurturing the creative spirit and its associated heartfelt passion.